Think about some of the best scorers in the NBA today. Guys like Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All guys who can easily get buckets, and all guys who have led the league in scoring. Yet none of them achieved this feat in college. Crazy, right? They could easily outscore everyone at the highest level, but not against weaker competition. Which begs the question, what happened to those guys who scored more points than anyone in college basketball? Did they go on to achieve greatness in the NBA, or did their glory fade as soon as they left college? These are the NBA careers of the last 25 NCAA scoring champions. Starting off with the most recent scoring champ, Villanova's Eric Dixon led the nation with 23.3 points per game. Spending his entire college career with the Wildcats, Dixon continued to improve each year. His final season saw him shoot over 40% from 3 on 7 attempts per game. Of course, being the most recent player on this list means that there isn't much to speak of in terms of an NBA career. He signed a 2-way contract with the Lakers after going undrafted, and he could end up becoming a solid role player one day if he continues to light it up from beyond the arc. In 2024, Purdue's Zach Edey captured the scoring crown after averaging 25.2 points per game. Now this was a guy who was very polarizing to say the least. You either loved his game or hated it and told everyone that you could that this guy was going to blow in the NBA. Or maybe that was just me. But no matter what, the dude could get buckets, even if it was a little boring to watch. He mainly operated in the paint, hitting plenty of baby hooks. And I don't blame him. The dude is 7'4". He was an outstanding college player, as evidenced by his many individual awards and Purdue's national championship appearance in 2024. Many still believe that he wouldn't be taken very high in the draft, given his lack of speed and outdated offensive skill set. But the Memphis Grizzlies took a chance on him, selecting him with the 7th pick in the 2024 draft. So far, Edey hasn't been bad. He still has good touch in the paint, he's an instant lob threat, and his paint defense is carried over as well. He was named to the All-Rookie First Team in 2025, averaging 9 points and 8 rebounds on a resurging Grizzlies team. If he continues to improve, he could become a quality starter for years to come. In 2023, Antoine Davis averaged 28.2 points per game on the college basketball powerhouse known as Detroit Mercy. You may remember hearing about this guy in his senior year, since he was on the verge of breaking Pete Maravich's career scoring record. He had already shattered many school records, but because of Detroit's lack of success, he wasn't able to play anymore following their loss to Youngstown State in the Horizon League tournament, meaning that Pistol Pete's record remained intact. He went undrafted in 2023, but he did manage to sign a deal with Portland's G League team, and he currently plays for the Stockton Kings. He's shown flashes of his scoring ability, but it's hard to know if he'll ever be able to bring that to the biggest stage. In 2022, Peter Kiss led Bryant University to their first ever NCAA tournament appearance after averaging 25.2 points per game. This was Kiss's 3rd school in his 6-year college career, with his final run being his most successful. After a loss in the first round of the tournament, Kiss went undrafted in 2022. He had a few workouts with the Cavs, but that's as far as he's gotten in the NBA so far. He's currently a free agent after spending the last 3 years in Mexico and Bulgaria. In 2021, Max Asmus from Oral Roberts had a career year, averaging 24.5 points per game. If that sounds familiar at all, it's because this was the year that the Golden Eagles shocked the nation, nearly becoming the first 15 seed in NCAA history to reach the Elite Eight. After transferring and finishing his career at Texas, Asmus went undrafted in 2024. He's currently in Utah's system, quickly signing a Summer League contract and later joining their G League team, which is where he currently resides as of the recording of this video. In the shortened 2020 season, Markus Howard from Marquette topped the charts after putting up 27.8 points a night. Here we have another guy who could easily get buckets from beyond the arc. He shot over 40% from 3 on 10 attempts per game, and he scored 40 points twice in 2020. Despite his great final season, he also went undrafted in 2020, but he would sign with the Denver Nuggets, and he's the first guy in a minute to actually suit up for his NBA club. But his time on the court wouldn't last long, as in 2 seasons in the Mile High City, he only played around 5 minutes a night. His shooting touch wasn't as consistent as it was at Marquette, and he was added as more of a one-dimensional player. He would have a good scoring night once in a blue moon, but it wasn't nearly enough to keep him on the roster. He would leave the Nuggets in 2022 after only 2 seasons and a career average of 3.4 points per game. He signed with Baskonia, where he has spent the last 3 years. He's played a bit better, even capturing another scoring title, but it's hard to say if he will ever find his way back to the NBA. In 2019, Chris Clemons of the Campbell Camels sat atop the collegiate mountain, averaging 30.1 points per night. This is another guy who put up 40 points a couple of times, and he put Campbell in a spot to possibly make the NCAA tournament. While they fell in the Big South tournament, Clemons finished with the 4th most points scored in NCAA history. After his time at Campbell ended, he went undrafted in 2019, signing a 2-way contract with the Houston Rockets. He made his debut in a blowout loss to the Miami Heat, and he scored 16 points off the bench. His time on the floor would come and go, as he either didn't play or spent much time in the G League. I will say that when he was given increased minutes, his scoring numbers weren't too bad. You could tell that there was maybe something there. But the good times wouldn't last for Clemons, as he tore his Achilles in a preseason game, putting him out for the entire 2021 season. He was cut months later, and that, so far, has been the last time he was on an NBA roster. Clemons has spent time both in the G League and China, and he currently plays for a French basketball club. In 2018, freshman phenom Trae Young's sole season with Oklahoma saw him lead the country in points and assists, putting up 27.4 points and 8.7 assists. It took a minute, but we finally have our first truly great NBA player. Hell, he's our first guy to be a starter for more than a year. He was taken 5th overall in 2018 by Dallas before quickly being traded to Atlanta for Luka Doncic. I remember at one point people said this was one of the most even trades in NBA history. And while that statement doesn't really hold up today, Young is still a damn good player in his own right. He's a perennial all-star, a great playmaker, and a high-volume scorer. There are some flaws, of course, like his defense isn't good, and the Hawks haven't seen as much success as they probably envisioned, but you can't put all of that lack of success on Young, as the Hawks have shown that they can go far with the right supporting cast. I don't think Atlanta is going to win anything major with their current core, but Young is still by far the best player we've seen on this list. In 2017, Central Michigan's Markus Keene led the nation with 30 points per game. He gained recognition for dominating his teammates in scrimmages, due to not being eligible because of transfer rules. When he was eligible the next year, he received tons of media attention. The dude was a walking bucket, regularly scoring between 30 and 35 points a night, and even dropping 50 against Miami of Ohio. But like we've seen before, this electrifying scoring season wouldn't lead to any success at the next level. Keene wouldn't be drafted in 2017, and he only had a short summer league stint before going overseas. Being 5'9", it's not hard to see why he never got a shot. Sure, there were smaller guys who thrived like Isaiah Thomas, but he was a rarity in the NBA, and even he was done just a couple years later. In 2016, James Daniel III of Howard captured the scoring title after averaging 27.1 points per game. His time in the spotlight was short and sweet. He finished his career playing for Tennessee, and after going undrafted in 2018, he only spent one season overseas before calling it a career. He would play in the basketball tournament occasionally, and he now spends his days as a content creator. James, my man, if you're looking to get some of that good old Young Money sports clout, you know where to find me. In 2015, Eastern Washington's Tyler Harvey put up 23.1 points per game. This is the lowest average that we've seen so far, which is strange considering some of the players from this year. Harvey's efforts were enough to bring the Eagles to the NCAA tournament, where they lost a hard-fought game to 4th-seeded Georgetown. Harvey himself scored 27 points in this game. He declared for the 2015 NBA draft, and he was actually selected with the 51st pick. But being drafted doesn't mean that you're guaranteed an NBA roster spot, as after a few stints in the G League, he spent the rest of his professional career playing overseas. 2014 scoring champ would also take home National Player of the Year honors. That guy was Creighton's Doug McDermott, who averaged 26.7 points per game. He was commended for his incredible scoring ability, and some believe that he could be a decorated NBA player. His NBA comparison was Wally Szczerbiak, which I'm sure is only for his offensive prowess and absolutely nothing else. He was taken 11th overall in the 2014 draft by the Chicago Bulls, ahead of other guys like Zach LaVine, Yusuf Nurkic, and some other guy taken during a Taco Bell commercial. Yeah, while McDermott's not a terrible NBA player, I wouldn't say that he was a good one either. He's never been looked at as a major option in a team's offense, and his best seasons have normally been a result of him coming off the bench. He's had a handful of years with double-digit scoring averages, and his best year came in 2021, when he averaged almost 14 points per game on a bad Pacers team. But I would still say that he's had a respectable NBA career. He currently plays for the Kings in more of a reserve role, and he's gearing up to play in his 12th season. With career averages of 8 points on 41% shooting from deep, you could do a lot worse, and he's probably the second best player that we've seen so far. In 2013, Virginia Tech's Erick Green was the frontman for a struggling Hokies team, averaging 25 points a night. When looking through this list, it's strange seeing a lot of 4-year players that spent their entire college career with one team. That almost never happens now. But Green was another guy who consistently improved his stats, peaking in his senior year. For his efforts, he was selected with the 46th pick in the 2013 draft by Denver. After a year in Italy, he rejoined the Nuggets for the Summer League, and his impressive performances got him a two-way contract. However, Green was never able to be a consistent part of the rotation, even on a bad Nuggets team. He would spend some time in the G League and only rarely be given serious minutes. After a cup of coffee with the Jazz in 2016, Green would play ball overseas, where he remains to this day. In 52 NBA games, he only averaged around 3 points per game. In 2012, another senior guard led the nation in scoring. This time, it was Oakland's Reggie Hamilton, who averaged 26.2 points per game. He was also given the Francis Pomeroy Naismith Award, an award given to players who excelled on the court in spite of their height, which should also tell you all you need to know about his chances in the NBA. After going undrafted in 2012, he only spent 1 year with Utah's G League team before spending the rest of his professional career overseas, retiring in 2018. 2011 scoring champ was a guy who took the nation by storm with his explosive scoring and jaw-dropping three-point range. From the land of Mormons and no premarital sex, BYU's Jimmer Fredette caught fire, averaging 28.9 points per game. He had been good prior to this year, but this is when he reached the peak of his collegiate popularity. Jimmer Mania was a real thing. Like, the dude got mentioned by Lil Wayne and Barack Obama.
Kansas State, BYU against Florida. I know you've been extremely busy. Have you had any kind of chance to see Jimmer Fredette from BYU?
Unbelievable. Best scorer, obviously, in the country. Great talent.
The way he could light it up from downtown reminded people of another sharpshooter from a small school that we'll mention later. Unfortunately, Fredette could never capture the same magic once he reached the NBA. He was taken 7th overall by the Kings in the 2011 draft, and if you thought McDermott's pick looked bad, you haven't seen anything yet. Jimmer was taken one spot after Kemba Walker, and before Tobias Harris, Nikola Vucevic, Jimmy Butler, Klay Thompson, and Kawhi Leonard. Hell, even the last pick in this draft, also taken by Sacramento, was better than Jimmer. His problem was that he was just a one-dimensional player. He was a bad defender, and he wasn't a strong playmaker because he was never that kind of point guard, and he didn't evolve. His scoring numbers tanked once he got to the league, and he only had a few notable performances, including a 24-point outing against the Knicks in 2014. His contract would soon be bought out, and he would bounce around the league, leaving for China following the 2016 season. Strangely enough, he would go on to become a Chinese basketball legend. He was consistently putting up over 35 points a night in Shanghai, and he even scored 41 points in a preseason game against the Rockets. This must have been enough for a team to take a chance on him, as the struggling Phoenix Suns signed him near the end of the 2019 season. But this wouldn't amount to much, and he quickly went back overseas. He would flirt with the idea of an NBA comeback, but would only get as far as the Summer League. Fredette officially retired in 2025, ending his NBA career with 6 points a night in 241 games played. In 2010, Houston made the NCAA tournament for the first time in 18 years, thanks in large part to Aubrey Coleman, who averaged 25.6 points per game. Coming in as a transfer from Southwest Mississippi CC, Coleman had no issues adapting to Division I basketball. He was a solid, although not the most efficient, scorer, and he looked like a capable defender. But his time in the NBA spotlight would never come, because after going undrafted in 2010, he would only have a couple of stints in the G League before taking his career overseas. He last played in 2019. Now, 2009 scoring champ may be a bit more underground. He balled out for a few years in college, then went on to have an okay NBA career. I don't know if y'all have even heard of this guy. From Davidson, it's Wardell Curry? No, but for real, I think a lot of us know how this story goes. Curry kills it at Davidson, leading them to their best season in program history in 2008. After one more year, he's selected by Golden State, where he went on to become the greatest shooter and greatest point guard of all time. So instead of going into detail discussing his accolades and highlights, I feel it would be better and cooler just to show you.
Bro, don't tell me they really came back on him like that. It's 104.99, third quarter. Look at Curry, man.
Could be hard to follow that guy up, but we'll try anyway. In 2008 and 2007, VMI's Reggie Williams averaged 28.1 and 27.8 points per game respectively. For the first time on this list, we have a player who managed to top the charts in back-to-back years. His NBA journey began in Sioux Falls, and he would find his way onto the Golden State Warriors, where he looked solid. In his rookie campaign, he averaged 15 points on nearly 50% shooting. Granted, it wasn't a small sample size on a bad team, but I'm sure that made him stand out even more. He was used as a regular bench player in 2011, where he wasn't bad, but he wasn't able to fully break out, still playing behind guys like Monte Ellis and Darrell Wright. From here, his NBA career would already start to wind down. He spent 2012 on one of the worst teams of all time, and would bounce around the NBA and G League until 2017. He played in 206 games in the league, averaging 7.8 points per game. 2006's scoring champ is another interesting case. From the eternal bridesmaid of college basketball, he's a guy who took the nation by storm and made people think porn stashes were cool. It's Adam Morrison. His 28 points per night made Zags fans think that this would be the year that the team would capture their first national championship. But Gonzaga's championship dreams would end prematurely, falling to UCLA in the Sweet 16. Hopes were still high for Morrison's NBA career. For God's sake, the dude was compared to Larry Bird, which in hindsight only set him up for failure. He was selected 3rd overall by Charlotte in the 2006 draft. This was Michael Jordan's first selection in the Charlotte tenure. Given his draft resume, this isn't a good sign. And Charlotte also wasn't exactly the best when it came to player development. This was shaping up to be a complete flop. And that it was. His rookie year wasn't much to write home about, with poor defense and bad shooting dominating the headlines. The true end of his career came in the preseason of his sophomore campaign, when Morrison tore his ACL, causing him to miss the entire 2008 season. When he returned in 2009, he was a shell of the once great player we saw at Gonzaga, and the only notable stories from around this time involved his, questionable hygiene. He was sent to the Lakers at the 2009 trade deadline, where he went on to win 2 rings and give out plenty of high fives. I feel like I have to show this clip, because it's one of the funniest NBA interviews I think I've ever seen.
Hi, I'm Max Flower. I'm here with Adam Morrison, and he's going to tell us about his secrets to success. Adam?
Just working hard and, doing the right things every day.
Well, Adam, thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of luck. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Adam. See you.
Like, what was the point of that? After a few preseason and overseas stints, Morrison would call it a career in 2012, with only 161 games played and an average of 7.5 points per game. He's gone down as one of the biggest draft busts of all time, and it gets even worse when you see who was taken after him. Brandon Roy, Rudy Gay, J.J. Redick, Rajon Rondo, and Kyle Lowry were all selected after Morrison and had much better careers. For the second time, we have a back-to-back champion, as St. Peter's Keydren Clark put up 25.8 and 26.7 points per game in 2005 and 2004. He's considered by many to be the greatest player in that program's history, holding many of their all-time records. But this success wouldn't carry over to the next level, at least in the NBA. He went over to Greece as soon as he went undrafted in 2006, and his professional career would almost exclusively take place overseas, besides one brief run with Minnesota's Summer League team in 2013. He won another scoring title in 2007, and he won a championship in 2018, which was also the final year of his playing career. In 2003, we go down to New Mexico to view our next champ. Averaging 28 points per game, it's Ruben Douglas. Like our last scoring champ, once his collegiate career concluded, he didn't have any real chances to enter the NBA. The former Mountain West Player of the Year would take his talents to Greece after going undrafted. He had a pretty successful professional career, playing his final game for whatever that team name is in 2012. However, it was reported just last year that Ruben Douglas had passed away due to an unknown illness, a New Mexico legend, taken away at only 44 years old. In 2002, we have another cadet, as VMI's Jason Conley took the crown after averaging 29.3 points per game. This guy was a true standout, as he was the first freshman in NCAA history to lead the country in scoring. He was set up to be a college basketball legend, but after transferring to Missouri, his output was never the same, which could have led to him falling off some people's radars. He went undrafted in 2005 and only had a sole summer league stint before spending the rest of his days overseas, playing his final game in 2017. In 2001, senior guard Ronnie McCollum from Centenary had no issues averaging 29.1 points per game. Yeah, how many people watching this even know about Centenary, or that they used to be a D1 school? Well, more people probably knew about them after hearing about McCollum. He was one of their best players that the team had ever seen, and he was extremely close to becoming their all-time leading scorer. But as we've seen many times before, this wouldn't mean anything at the next level. The dude never even got a summer league offer, and he spent his professional career in places like China and Europe, playing his final game in 2016. And finally, in 2000, Fresno State's Courtney Alexander welcomed in the new millennium, averaging 24.8 points per game. After transferring from Virginia, Alexander made an instant impact, leading the Bulldogs to the NCAA tournament in his senior year. This success did catch the attention of NBA scouts, as he would end up being taken 13th overall in the 2000 NBA draft by the Magic, later being sent to Dallas. This makes him the first person in a while to both get drafted and make the league. But it seems like he wasn't in Dallas's long-term plans, since he struggled to get real minutes behind Steve Nash. He was so expendable that he was shipped to Washington that same year in exchange for Juwan Howard. This change of scenery ended up being great for Alexander. His minutes were nearly tripled in DC, and his numbers shot up across the board. He ended up being one of the few bright spots on a Wizards team that finished with the worst record in the league, and he was named to the All-Rookie second team. He was shaping up to, at worst, be a reliable starter or quality bench player for years to come. But I guess we just can't have nice things sometimes. Alexander's career would come to a screeching halt thanks to a torn Achilles. After tearing it in the 2003 preseason, he would be ruled out for the year. Then, he would suffer a foot injury after signing with Sacramento, being released without ever suiting up for the team. After another quick stint in Denver, Alexander would be cut yet again. He officially retired in 2007, with 187 games played and an average of 9 points per game. So what can we learn from looking at these guys? Well, it's clear that just scoring a lot doesn't instantly translate to the professional level, or at least the NBA. You may have noticed it already, but a lot of these guys were 4-year players that were playing for small, losing programs. Were they talented? Of course, but very few of them were playing against higher level competition. So when they try to make it in the league, the intensity goes up to 11. If you're primarily a scorer with few other dimensions to your game, you're going to be cut loose if you're not putting the ball in the basket. So most of these guys are just great college players, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. These guys were still hooping at a higher level than most, and a handful of them also had successful overseas careers. Plus, we also saw a couple guys who have been All-NBA or all-time great players win the scoring crown. So it can be done, but it would be better just to be a good scorer with something else to bring to the table. But that's going to do it for this video. Let me know who's your favorite scoring champ or college team in the comments below, and what other college hoops videos y'all would want to see. I've got a few more college hoops vids in the works, and honestly, I'm just really excited to get another video out, man. I know it's been way too long. And here's to hoping that it doesn't take 3 more months for the next video to come out. But y'all know what to do. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all later.
He's got a spot up. There he goes. Oh, that's a flag here. We got to stop.
Retro.